Greetings from this epic pilgrimage on day 7, actually day 8, journeying up through the sacred Himalayas. And today I would love to share with you about adaptation and adaptive energy, being adaptive to the moment, to what life is asking of us. I'm at a beautiful place. It's so good that the sun is back after 4 days of rain. Yeah, like a few moments of sunshine, but essentially rain for 4 or 5 days, and everything is a bit wet, and yeah, good, or part of the experience. But when the sun comes back, so you can really appreciate it. Just had a dip here. I'm at a place called Rudra Prayag, which is a very special sacred place where there's a meeting of two rivers. This river, Mandakini, coming from Kedarnath, which is where I'm going, heading up this way, this road. And on the other side is the other sacred river coming from Badrinath there, Laknanda. So I've just had a dip. It's a beautiful space. It's an incredible energy, and there's a lot of devotion here, which is something that I love and I find so enchanting as well, especially about the culture here. I feel it's something so beautiful to bring and to live with more devotion in one's life. And what I'd really like to share about today is being adaptive. So yesterday, after the rain had kind of slowed, and I continued on from this beautiful meeting that I was sharing. So touched. I'm still, feel it so closely in my heart. The simplicity of it all, just pure. I don't even have words for it, actually. Like, I was going to say presence, but it's not just presence and love, but just availability, maybe, and in a purest form. And then I met up with the main road, which I haven't been on for these 8 days. So, and which are where the majority of where the pilgrims are walking along, and along this yatra. And so I came into a city, and it was interesting because there's a bit of a shock contrast of all of a sudden, being out in the mountains and small villages, and kind of like slow and intimate, and just generally easy greetings to people. All of a sudden it's like horns, and the complete opposite, and the intensity of it. Senses are a bit overwhelmed, not knowing which way to look, and we're just trying to find the place to put the feet on the earth without falling in puddles and mud and whatever is takes enough attention. But and so I arrived to this big town, and went to look for somewhere to stay. So I'm sleeping outside, and people said, no, you don't sleep outside. It's in the town. And so I went to the temple, and they said, not at this temple, but you can stay at another temple. And so someone who had a scooter said, I can take you there. So we jumped on the back of the scooter, got my things and my stick. I was also thinking about, just couldn't. We're in the middle of a city, and I've got a stick in one hand, and I was like, there's no way that this would fly in Australia. But here we are in India, and it's beautiful. I arrived to the temple, and they were just starting the evening ceremony. It was beautiful. People were singing and clapping, and there were a lot of sadhus, these wholly men. There was one woman, but mostly all men. Like there was maybe, I guess, more than 50 people there. Um, and and essentially they're people that live with the clothes on their back. They carry a little pot, a stick, and a blanket maybe, something like that. Some a few more things. Some have less actually. So, and that's their life, So they're really living out, not just in the street, but in the world, wherever that might be. But a lot of the time, they're in the street, and some have shoes, some don't. So they were allowed. There was a place for sadhus to stay in the front of the temple, and I asked if I could stay there. And they're all a bit confused, a bit like, firstly, what are you doing in those short shorts? I mean, no one said that because we wasn't a lot of English, but I'm clearly foreign, and appear foreign as well. But there was also a warmth, and some people acknowledging it, and so I was allowed to stay there. We're all just sleeping on the ground, like just a simple mat, like a yoga mat, and some of them had a blanket or really nothing on the ground, or one blanket on the bottom, one on top, or a coffee sack, Hessian bag, something like that. Very simple. We went to eat. The temple there makes food, and they said to come and eat, and it was almost like being in like the feeling of a homeless shelter, but in India. And there we are, sitting on the ground, like lined up next to each other. Someone comes past and gives some food. It's also beautiful. Like it was really beautiful just to be there, and like I could sense, like I was like trying to figure it out, a little bit uncomfortable, kind of like, what do I do? What's my place? Am I actually allowed to be here? Like one person told me to come, but does that mean it's accepted in general? And we're there eating with our hands, and there's no real, people are just in their own space, but just like relaxing into it, I guess, a bit, and I'm taking it in, observing it, and what I could also sense in this group, I mean, everyone's different, but there was a level of denseness in people have had, no doubt, like really hard lives. The man I was sleeping next to was speaking to me in Hindi a lot. I couldn't really understand much, but from his facial expressions and a few expressions where he was like, with a gun, I understood that he'd been, shot 3 times. And I mean, it's an extreme story, but just I recognise that people have their trauma and their challenge of living this life, and a lot of these guys definitely could feel it, and they're living hand to mouth, just with what comes in the day. There was also a level of density, like, I was there kind of in the evening, just in my own space and meditating and doing some practice, and it was. I feel like this was one thing that was really important, is to know where to. One is to know what is. What's the place or in the environment that's supportive to me, and to try and choose it. And when we're not, or like for example in this situation, okay, I'm there, and I know I'm going to be there, and I can be there again tonight, or it would be okay. But also, what can I do to support my own energy, to have a clear and strong energy to, I guess, protect, but not from a place of fear, but from a place of like, I'm okay, where I can put myself in this situation or that situation, and I'm going to be okay, and I don't have anything to fear, and I'm alright, and my things are alright, and and so this was also about the adaptiveness, being able to adapt to the situation, to see, okay, where am I going to stay tonight? What's going to unfold? Whatever comes to me, I go with it, and being able to, with the things that are unexpected, being able to adapt and respond to them in the best way possible. And that's where I feel like practices are so important. There's a lot in an integrated approach to life and also to yoga, which is what I've studied and what I share. It's really, really, for me, so beneficial. So beneficial. Yeah, and this adaptive energy, so this energy that we have, like, it's also something that a wonderful teacher and who also inspired me to take this yatra, this journey, this pilgrimage, Tom Knowles. He speaks a lot to this adaptive energy. He's an incredible Vedic meditation teacher, and this adaptive energy that one has in our life and in our day, and hence the principle for meditating, to increase this adaptive energy, to respond with the challenges of the day when we meet the unexpected, when we meet a moment that could be stressful, that requires more of us, that we have a capacity or a reserve of adaptive energy, and this adaptive energy slowly diminishes during the day depending on what we meet. So we may have a high level of adaptive energy and also have a practice that supports it, meditation, yoga, kriya, that supports that reservoir of adaptive energy, and so we meet challenges but we're able to respond to them, and then we're also able to practice to return to center and to increase our adaptive energy. And I find this understanding so helpful for me. It's really makes sense, and because it makes sense because that's my experience. I could verify it for myself. So like last night was a classic moment. Also, it was like, okay, so it's a good time for me to practice. It's a good time for me to meditate. It's a good time for me to go in. The people there smoking chilms and just like this tamasic, like this low sort of dense energy. So it was okay, and I was grateful for also being welcomed there, and for a few of the people who were really sweet towards me, and yeah, to have a place of rest and a meal. I mean, it's great. So today I've arrived at this special place, taking a dip. The energy is great. I've had a really synchronistic meeting with another foreigner who's probably the first foreigner I've seen, and he's really deep in the devotion of Hindu culture and yoga, and he's been on the yatra. He's telling me an incredible story about some of the different pilgrimages. One of them, there's one pilgrimage, this is really impressive, that is in India, and I don't remember all the terms, but in a lot of prayer, one travels in a circle around the temple. Like also in Buddhism, you see people walking around the temple and spinning the prayer wheels. So there's a pilgrimage here where people travel around the river. So they're from the source down all the way along the river to the ocean and then back. So they're traveling on both sides. It's 6,000 kilometers, and he spent 6 months doing this, and yeah, he said it was just phenomenal. Of course, it changed his life. How would it not? But anyway, it was I just happened to really, really need to go to the toilet, and I was like super desperate. I was like, I'm just going in this like this opening. Like there was like a kind of like a gate, and I went in, I went down. It's like, oh, there's a toilet there. And it came to a temple, and I was like, toilet. Yeah. And when I came out, I was speaking with one of the priests there, and he's like, oh, wait. And he called this French guy over. He was down at the river. So this was him. This was that synchronistic meeting who then brought me to this place and explained a lot of the context of just practices. No, you can't wear this. You can't wear these short shorts. It's not appropriate. But I mean, people don't care, but they won't. They won't get close. There won't be that sense of togetherness. Like, yes, they might see you on the journey and know you're on the journey, but they will find it very hard to understand you. You need to wear a dhoti, like a skirt. And these ways of, I guess it's ways of connection, and again, it comes back to adaptability, of being able to adapt oneself to the situation. It's not I may or may not wear a dhoti. It's like the tilikam of the third eye, like I'm happy if someone wants to put it on me, and if I don't have it, I'm okay. But it's those kind of things that it doesn't. It's not a huge effort for me, and if those are the kind of things that allow me to participate more in some of the experience, well, it's also really beautiful, really beautiful. So if a dhoti comes, like a kind of like a dress or a cloth to wrap around, they're super comfortable as well. Well, then it comes and great. Anyway, he'd also just been up to Kedarnath where I'm going, and he said there's like lots of snow. It's actually been closed for the last few days, and he said it's really intense and really strong. Tapas, like this test of willpower. So let's see. Try to keep adapting. Oh, I'm so happy that the sun is here. From this beautiful, beautiful sacred part of the world, sending so many blessings and good journeys with him.